In this video, I'm going to be sharing 5 underrated JavaScript events along with some demos. So we have before unload, animation end, visibility change, error, online and offline. Let's start from before unload. And this event is triggered before the document and its resources are about to be unloaded. And we can do some interesting things on there. One way we can use this event is that let's say we have an input. The user tries to type something. Maybe they try to close the page when they haven't actually submitted what they typed. Now in our JavaScript, we can get the input element. Then we can add an event listener of before unload. And we can check that if this input element value is not empty, and you can also add an extra check that if the user has not submitted it yet, then you can just do something like event.return value. Are you sure you want to leave? Just something like this. Different browsers might handle this differently. So with this, if I try to close the page now, everything works fine. But if I type something and I try to close the page now, it's going to ask, do you want to leave this site? Changes you have made may not be saved. I can cancel this, or I can press OK to leave the site. You've probably seen this in other sites where you try to do something but you haven't saved yet and the browser stops you. You can use before unload for that. Over to the second event, animation end. This event is triggered when the CSS animation has completed. And let me show you one way you can use this. I actually showed this in my previous video. And then here we have this button. And when you click this button, we want to show a toast notification. So I can come to the JavaScript here now. I get the toaster where the notification loads. I have this function called add toast. This just adds a random notification, so it creates the element and then adds the text. I'm going to comment this animation end part for now. So now if we come here, when I click on show toast, you see we have this notification. I click on show toast again, we have another notification. At this point here for the toaster is that these two notifications we added, even though we have animated them off the screen, they are still here. If I add another toast, you can see we have 3 notifications here. Now with animation end, we can add an event listener on this toast element that we created, and when the animation ends, by the way, this is the animation, we have animation fade out 3 seconds, and this is the fade out animation here. So when it gets to 100% and the animation is completed, then we now call toast.remove, which is a method on DOM elements that removes the elements from the DOM. So now let's refresh this again. I click on this, we have our notification, see the notification here. As the animation ends, it's removed from the DOM. I can add like 3 notifications here. As each of them animate from the screen, they are removed from the DOM, and this helps us remove elements from the DOM that we do not need. But of course, you can perform different other logic depending on what you want to do after an animation is completed. Let's go to the third animation, which is visibility change. This event is triggered when the content of a tab has become visible or has been hidden, and this can allow you to do interesting things when a user leaves a tab or comes back to that tab. Let's say, for example, we have a video. This is a free video I got from pixels.com. So now a user is playing this video, but then when the user changes the tab and they come back to that video, it's still playing. Now we can add something interesting where if the user changes their tab, we pause the video, and when they're back, we can play the video. So coming to the JavaScript part here, we get the video elements. Then we add this event listener of visibility change. This is triggered when the user changes tab. And on the document.hidden property, we can find if the document is currently hidden or not. True means the user is on a different tab. False means the user is still on the current tab. And when the document is hidden, we can call video.pause. Let me comment this video.play for now. Now when I refresh, we're playing this video. It stops here. We go here. Now that video is paused. We can come back and we can see the video is paused. Now we can add video play here such that when document.hidden is false, we play the video back. So if I refresh this again, we have 1 second, 2 seconds. I change tab. The video is paused. I come back, the video plays from 2, 3 to the end. Now you can use this in a lot of interesting ways when user is changing tab. For example, you can turn off some background resources that might be used when they don't need to be used if the user is not on that tab. Let's go to the fourth event, which is this one, error. This event occurs when loading an external file. Let's say you're loading a picture or a video and it doesn't load for some reason, internet connection, wrong URL. Now you can do some interesting things here. One way I like to use this is to add maybe default images if the original image did not load. So I have 4 images here I got from Unsplash, but then let's say one of these image links is broken. I'm just going to add an extra S here. Now if I refresh, we now have something like this. Well, we can actually add a default image here that we know has the correct URL. Here in this JavaScript, I'm going to get all the images. Then I'm going to loop through all of the images, and on each image, I'm going to add a function to the error event. So here I'm going to update the image src to this camera icon. Then for the on error event, I'll assign that to null. I'm doing this so that we don't have a constant loop of on error being triggered all the time. Now if I refresh this, the first image URL is broken, so I now have this default camera icon here. Let's say I also break the fourth image. Now I have it here. Let's say I break the second image, and now I have this here. So if everything works fine, we have the original image, but if an error event is triggered, such as in the case of a broken URL, we have a default image that we always show, except the user has a bad internet connection. And now for the fifth event, online and offline. This is triggered when the browser goes online or offline, and this does not mean internet access, it just means connected to a network. So here I have this offline banner that says you are offline. In my styles, by default, the offline has a display of none. Then here in my JavaScript, I can get the offline banner, and then I have this function called update online status. Here we check the online property of navigator. This online property would be true if there is a network connection, and to be false if there is no network connection. So if it is true, the display should be none for the offline banner, else the display should be block. And then here I can listen to the online and offline event. I can also add this initial check. So now we have a network connection, no events triggered. When I come to my Wi-Fi here and I turn it off, that offline event is triggered, and we now have you are offline here. But when I go back here and I turn it on, the online event is triggered, and so that banner disappears. You've probably seen this in apps before. Well, this is one way you can achieve it. But like I said, this does not mean you have internet access. So you may be connected to a network that doesn't have internet access, but the online event will still be triggered. In my next video, I'm going to show you how you can check for not just network connection, but also internet access. So subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. And yeah, these are these 5 events that you can add to your applications to either improve user interaction, save browser resources, or whatever creative thing you want to do with them. The code for all of this will be in the video description for you to check out. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share with another person that might be helpful too.